Hello learners, I welcome you to the module Production and Legal Issues. In the earlier module we have discussed different aspects related to marketing. What is market, what are the elements in a marketing mix, then market segmentation, sales, etc. In this module, first we will discuss the legal issues that are related to a business firm. And in the second part of this module, we will discuss some issues related to operations management in a business firm. The main objectives of this module is that you will be able to discuss the legal issues in connection with the business organization. You will be able to find out the different forms of business organization with their advantages and disadvantages, as well as the legal issues associated with the different forms of business. You will also be able to discuss the importance of operations management in a business firm, and you will be able to identify the different aspects of operation management and their implications in a business firm. So let's start. So suppose you are going to start a business. The first step in starting a business is to select a particular business form. So there are different forms of business, and we will discuss these forms within a minute or two. Whatever may be the form, there are certain factors which need to be considered in selecting a particular business form. These are nature of business, scale of operations, scope of expansion, the requirements of finance and other resources, as well as the ability of the businessman. So these are certain factors, and we have to decide a particular form of business depending on these factors, as well as there are some other factors also. So all these factors will help us in deciding the particular form of business. So whatever the form you select for your business, all business firms have to function within the legal framework. So the legal provisions have to be followed by every business organization, and that starts even before the actual business starts, means at the step of registration of the business firm. Then during the entire lifetime of the business firm, it have to comply with the different legal provisions. If you close down your business, then also you have to follow the legal procedures. Now the complexity of legal procedures, the time required to fulfill all these formalities differ depending on the form of business that you have selected. Now is the time to discuss the different forms of business. So first of all, we will discuss the sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is a business form which is run by one single person. The owner is known as the sole proprietor, and he or she performs the functions of manager as well as the owner of the business. So one person will run the business, and all the legal formalities he have to comply with. Now what are the main advantages of sole proprietorship business? As you know, the sole proprietorship is the only owner of the business. He or she is not required to share the profit of the business with others. Then the sole proprietor can maintain the business secrets, as he is not going to discuss the business secrets with others. The owner can take quick decisions of the business. However, there are some disadvantages of sole proprietorship. The number one is limited capital. The sole proprietor, the single person, have limited sources of getting capital. So the capital required for the business will be limited. The sole proprietor will have limited capacity to supply the capital required for the business, as well as the scope of future expansion of the business is limited. The third limitation of sole proprietorship is that it is faced the unlimited liability. So it is a situation, suppose your business, you are starting in the form of a sole proprietorship. You are unable to meet the liabilities of the business. In that case, you have to utilize the assets, means assets of the sole proprietor, the personal assets of the sole proprietor to pay the liabilities of the business if the business assets are not sufficient. So liability extends to the personal assets of the sole proprietor. Then what are the legal formalities that need to be followed? In case of sole proprietorship, the legal formalities are very limited. Very less legal formalities have to be observed. The registration of the firm with the local authority is sufficient to start the business. The law considers the proprietor and the business as the same thing. So there is no separate identity. And the business may close down with the death of the sole proprietor. So the sole proprietor is all in the business, and he have to follow very limited legal formalities in this particular form of business. Then we will discuss the another form of business, that is partnership. In partnership, the minimum 2 partners are required to start the business. And partnership business is based on an agreement between the partners to carry on the business and to share the profits or losses arising from the business operations. So there are certain advantages of partnership business, like partners can arrange more finance as compared to the sole trader. The partners can arrange more funds. Then the partners share the risks and uncertainties of the business. And with the joint efforts of the partners, the partnership business can be expanded. However, limitations are there, and number 1 limitation is the unlimited liability. As in case of sole proprietorship, in case of partnership also, the partners have unlimited liability. Means the partners may need to utilize the assets of his or her own assets to pay the liabilities of the business. And quick decision making may not be possible in a business firm, as one partner may agree, the other partner may not agree. So it may take time to take decision for the business. Now, a partnership firm in India is regulated by the Indian Partnership Act that was passed in the year 1932. Registration of a partnership firm is very important, though it is not necessary under this act, but a registered partnership firm avails certain benefits as compared to an unregistered firm. The partnership business is basically based on partnership deed that contains certain matters like name and address of the partners, their capital contribution, share of profits and losses, mode of dissolution, rights and duties of the partners, and so on. This deed is created on a judicial stamp paper, and all the partners or their authorized agent need to sign that document. Some other documents are also required in case of partnership business, like affidavit certifying that all the details mentioned in the partnership deed and documents are correct, then the PAN card and the address proof of the partners, proof of principal place of business of the firm. Next we will discuss another form of partnership, that is limited liability partnership. So limited liability partnership combines some of the features of the joint stock company and some of the features of traditional partnership that we have just discussed. Limited liability partnership is constituted on the basis of an agreement between the partners. And this limited liability partnership will have a separate legal existence from the partners. But in case of traditional partnership firm, there is no separate legal existence, no separate legal identity of the firm apart from the partners. They are considered as same. But in case of limited liability partnership, there is a separate legal existence. The limited liability partnership will have liability limited to the extent of its assets. The liability of the partners will be limited to the extent of the agreed contribution of the partners. The partners are also not liable for the unauthorized acts of a partner. So there are certain advantages as compared to the traditional partnership. Now, limited liability partnership as a business structure have less legal formalities to be complied with than a joint stock company, but still have the flexibility of a partnership business. Now let us discuss this joint stock company. A joint stock company comes into existence by following legal procedure. So generally, for large business organizations, this form of organization is selected. All the companies have to follow the provisions of the Companies Act while registering or during the entire lifetime of the company, as well as at the time of winding up of the company. All the legal provisions have to be followed. That is specified in the Companies Act. Earlier, the companies followed the Companies Act 1956, but this act has been amended and presently it is known as the Companies Act 2013, which guides the companies, the joint stock companies, in the operations and management of the business. Now, what are the advantages of joint stock company? The joint stock company have a separate legal existence. So, law considers a joint stock company as a separate legal person apart from the owners. Therefore, the life of the company is not affected by the life of the members. Limited liability. The liability of the members of the company is limited to the extent of the value of the shares that he or she holds. The members are not personally liable in case of the joint stock company, whereas in case of sole proprietorship or partnership, the owners are personally liable for the business debts. Professional management. A joint stock company is managed by the professional team known as board of directors. The owners, the shareholders, generally do not take part in the management of a company. Then the next advantage is that transferability of share. So in case of a public company listed in a stock exchange, the members can freely purchase or sell the shares. So the easy transferability of these shares help the members to convert their investment into cash immediately. However, there are certain disadvantages also, like the company have to follow a complex legal procedure. To register the company, the legal procedures that need to be followed is very lengthy. So various documents need to be prepared and it needs the professional expertise. Delay in decision making. The business decisions are taken by the board of directors and the group decision making definitely takes some time as compared to individual decision making. Lack of secrecy. In this form of organization, it is difficult to keep business secrets as decisions are taken collectively. Now let us see what are the legal formalities that generally followed by the company. So a company will have to follow the procedure as laid down in the Companies Act that we have already discussed. Certain documents need to be prepared like Memorandum of Association, Articles of Association, as well as a prospectus when the company is going to issue some shares, etc. All these documents have to be filed with the registrar of companies at the time of registering the company. The company need to hold statutory meeting and annual general meetings compulsorily at the stipulated time. So the legal procedure is quite difficult to follow as compared to our sole proprietorship and partnership business. Then comes the one-person company. So this particular form of business is provided by the Companies Act 2013 to promote micro business and entrepreneurship in our country. This one-person company have certain advantages. The Act states that only a natural person who has stayed in India for a period of not less than 182 days during the immediately preceding one calendar year shall be eligible to incorporate a one-person company and a nominee for the sole member of a one-person company. So what are the benefits that a one-person company can avail. It have a separate legal entity, limited liability, then perpetual succession, means the life of the company is not affected by the life of the members. So it enjoys the advantages in the form of exemption which are otherwise need to be followed by a joint stock company, like holding the annual general meeting, then no quorum need to be followed for the meetings, not required to appoint a company secretary, and it may have a single director, and the registration process is quite simple. Besides the Companies Act, the factories, the companies have to follow some other industrial laws, like the Factories Act 1948. It regulates the conditions of work in a manufacturing firm. Then we have the Workmen's Compensation Act 1923, which provides payment of compensation to the workmen by the employers in case of injury caused by accident in course of employment. Then Employee State Insurance Act 1948. The Workmen's Compensation Act and Employee State Insurance Act are the important social security legislations. So all the companies have to follow these acts, and at the same time we have some other acts also, like Maternity Benefit Act, which regulate the employment of women in certain establishments for certain periods, and it provides maternity benefit. Industrial Dispute Act, which provides for the prevention and settlement of industrial disputes through different committees, tribunals, etc. Again, we have some special acts which applies to some special industry, like the Plantation Labor Act 1951, the Mines Act 1952, Dock Workers Safety, Health and Welfare Act 1986, Shops and Commercial Establishment Act of the different states. So these are the different acts that the companies, industries have to follow while doing their work. Now let us move to the second part of this module. The aspects we are going to discuss here are related to production management. Now, for a manufacturing firm, the primary focus is on production related activities. So when we use the term production, it gives us an indication that there will be a factory, there will be some machineries, workers are working with the help of machines, with the tools, and a particular process is followed to convert the raw materials into finished products. These products are then sent to the markets, and these are used by the end consumers. So production is the process whereby a business firm combines the different inputs. It may be land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, technical knowledge, etc. And with all this, it produces the outputs. In the process of the production, the firm converts these raw materials into goods or services. Thereby it creates the form utility. It changes the form utility of raw materials and make it as the finished product that you and me are using by purchasing it from the market. Now, production management, this is also known as operations management, is concerned with managing the entire process of production. In a manufacturing firm or a service generating firm, operations management play a very significant role. For a manufacturing firm, the operation manager is responsible for making the raw materials available so that the machines work continuously. Workers work according to the scheduled time and the output is produced. When the output will be produced, the factories need to follow certain quality norms. So all these are looked after by the operations management. In case of a service firm, let us take the example of a hotel that delivers an experience of comfortable stay and quality food. It have to maintain the operations. At a particular point of time, how many customers a hotel can accommodate, availability of housekeeping services, security arrangements, all come under the operations management. So operations management is important both for manufacturing as well as service firms. So irrespective of its size, nature of business and the industry to which it belongs, operations is the major functional area. And operations management is connected with all other operational areas of a business like marketing, finance, human resource, information and communication, technology, research, and so on. So the decision taken in one particular area will affect the other functional areas as well. For example, if you want to expand your business, so you need a factory, you need finance, you need human resource. So all other functional areas along with operational management will need to function in a coordinated manner. So the main aim of operation management is to manage the operations efficiently and effectively, and that will result in the delivery of quality products and customer satisfaction. So it mainly focuses on the maintenance of machines, inventory management, quality control, production planning, and so on. Now let us discuss some important concepts of production management. First we will discuss the just-in-time. This is the manufacturing philosophy. It aims at eliminating waste in a manufacturing process by using deliberate methods. How it works? The management deliberately withdraw the buffer stock and expose the manufacturing process to the hidden problems. Once these problems are solved and the production system runs smoothly, again the management will withdraw deliberately the buffer stock to face some new problems. So in this way, by withdrawing buffer stock, it will face certain new sorts of problems and will solve these problems, and this process will continue until the amount of buffer stock is reduced to a great extent. So this process will help in quality improvement, controlling the defects in the production process, improves delivery, and it minimizes cost. So it leads to efficient manufacturing process. Let us discuss the next important concept, that is the total quality management. As the name suggests, it is the management philosophy that focuses on quality management and quality improvement. This approach advocates that quality products or services are the responsibility of everyone in the organization. So the top management, employees, suppliers, even the customers are engaged in the total quality management philosophy. Now, operations and the process. Now, we know that the operations management is concerned with determining the process that transforms the inputs into outputs. In a manufacturing organization, the raw materials are processed and the finished product is made available in the market. In a service firm, different sub-processes are connected, customer contact points are identified, and service is provided. Now, in this case, certain factors are there that determine the process. Number one, volume. It refers to the quantity that can be produced in a manufacturing firm within a specified time frame. So, for example, the real estate firm, it may undertake 1 or 2 projects in a year, whereas a car manufacturing company may have the capacity of producing 2 lakhs units in a year. So it depends on the nature of business, size of the market, ability of the firm in terms of finance, human resource, technology, etc. Next comes the variety. Variety refers to alternatives and variants of a product. You can see the example of Philips, the different varieties of lights produced by Philips. So it's a variety in its products. So the manufacturing process will be varied. You can also see the example of any car manufacturing company. It have different variants of the car that belongs to different price segments. So more the number of alternatives and varieties, the varied and complex will be the production process. Flow. We know that in a manufacturing firm, the raw materials undergo different sub-processes. So flow indicates the nature of this transformation process. Understanding this flow will give useful information in planning the process and thereby they control the quality of the product. Location decision. This is another important area where production manager need to be very cautious. Location decision is important from the point of view of minimizing the transportation and the distribution cost. To maintain continuous flow of operation, we need raw materials that need to be fed into the machines in a factory, as well as the output have to be sent to the market on a continuous basis. So it is important to consider the competitive cost advantage associated with selecting a particular place for a factory. So location decision need to be taken by the companies in certain situations like expansion of business, closing down a factory and relocating it in some other places to get the advantages, starting a new line of business, etc. Now the globalization of business and the changing regulations of different countries, the different economic development of countries, specialty in certain factor of production like low cost labor, improved technology, may call for setting up a factory in different countries. So the factors provide cost advantage as well as access to a large market. Therefore, location decision is very important from operations management's point of view. So we are coming towards the end of this module, and now we will discuss about the layout planning. It refers to the arrangement of physical resources or facilities that make the process efficient. So it will reduce the wastage of time and resources and make the system efficient and will make the customers satisfied. The layout for a manufacturing firm will be different from a service generating firm. A manufacturing firm will have different machines, tools, whereas a service generating firm, if we take the example of a hospital, we have different services like radiology, cash counter, ECG facility, doctor chambers, laboratory, etc. So a good layout plan helps in setting up these facilities in such a way that in a manufacturing firm, workers in a factory need less time to cover the distance. Raw materials can be quickly fed into the machines. Adequate space for the personnel to maintain and repair the machineries. So this will result in the cost minimization and will help in making the production system efficient. In case of the service firm, a customer will get the efficient service if he or she gets easy access to different facilities. Therefore, layout planning is important to satisfy the customers by providing good service. Now, in the module, we have discussed the different forms of business like sole proprietorship, partnership, joint stock company, one-person company, etc. We have also discussed the different advantages and disadvantages and the legal formalities, the different legal issues connected with the different forms of business. We have discussed the aspects related to production management like just-in-time manufacturing, total quality management, location decision, plant layout decision, etc. Hope you have enjoyed this module and wish you all the best for rest of the modules. Thank you. Thank you very much.